And then now from where we want to go from today is, again, we wanted to just spend time with you guys, make this as open-ended as possible, to really just talk to you about where we're going with this project, this that we're calling Engage. And you know, Joe Boylan's going to spend some time talking about that. But I'd also like to introduce in the back of the room also from Ben Franklin, Ken Okrepke. Some of you may know Ken. Ken, I think, has really done a very nice job with a number of businesses in these industrial parks to help provide funding for specific projects that he's been involved in. And we thought it would make a lot of sense to have Ken join us here for this as well. Again, just to hear some of the thoughts that you might have on where we're going with the industrial parks, and see if there's some things that we might want to engage Ben Franklin in as well. But before we do that, I want to invite Ian Robeson to come up here and give us a little bit of a flavor for American Paper Bag, because I think this one's kind of an interesting one. He came to us, and I'll let him tell the story, but he came to us, gosh, about maybe 2 years ago, with Ken, myself, and Joe, with he just came out of Croatia, if I remember right. Slovakia. And really had a really cool idea relative to these bags. Now, these bags that you see over here are something that you do see a little bit more in Europe. I definitely remember seeing something similar to this in Asia Pacific while I was working over there. But the whole concept over here, I think, is a very unique one that the U.S. marketplace is ready to, I think, embrace. And I think what you're going to see here from these very humble beginnings that Ian started right here in this complex, I think that you're going to see some really cool things out of American Paper Bags. So Ian, why don't you come on up and maybe just say a few words? And thank you again. Sorry, and thank you again for hosting us today.
This will be very quick. Yeah. So we started off about 2 years ago, as Rico said. The reason why we're here, we could have potentially gone anywhere in the US with the project. The reason why we settled here, is that the first time we met the Connect organization, and we met Ben Franklin with Ken, and they were great. To be honest, they were head and shoulders above every other area that we met in to try and get us to come here. We went in New Jersey, California, we looked at Detroit, we looked at a region of Canada, and to be honest, nobody was better in this area. We settled on potentially one of 3 markets here. We're either Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, or Lehigh Valley. Lehigh Valley was full, they were our number 1, but when you go there, you visit it, it's full, you can't do anything there. Scranton replied to my emails about 3 weeks after we made the decision to come to Wilkes-Barre, because apparently that's how we operate. And Wilkes-Barre, it was an easy one. We had to do one that was a combination of both good for the business and good for the quality of life that we have as well. So my family is very happy and very settled here now, coming over from Europe. So it's a great place to actually start and develop a business, which is what we had to do. We're starting from scratch. Officially we're a new startup, even though everybody involved in the business has been in the industry, in the packaging industry, for quite a long time. But we're officially a brand new manufacturing startup from scratch. So the involvement that we've had with the Connect group, with the involvement that we've had with Ben Franklin, has enabled us, opened up to a lot of financing and funding opportunities that we've had our hand held all the way through the process, and it's great, it's superb. We wouldn't have been able to do that elsewhere, and the fact that everything was brought together and made easy for us was superb. So we're about a few weeks away from starting up production in here. We've got our first machine down and in, first production line, which is, I'm going to say, the most advanced paper bag production line in the world. It runs approximately twice as fast as anything else in the US, and we've got a lot more flexibility of the type of product that we can make. So far we've had a lot of interest. We've got a lot of projects ongoing, including with Aerobread and a number of other very major national companies, which is quite nice to be able to have that to go on with. We've got a nice exclusivity for this kind of product in North America, Canada, US, and Mexico, so nobody else can manufacture it here. So we have a lot of advantages. But we wouldn't have been able to do it if it hadn't been for both the Chamber, with the Connect, and with the Ben Franklin organization. I mean, hands down, that's why we're here for this one. That's me.
Thanks, Ian. Hello, everyone. So I think first of all, thanks Wico for the introduction and kind of setting the table for what we're going to talk about today. And Ian telling the story. I could tell the story in my sleep, I think, of you coming here and really building a friendship with you since. So it's been great. So I really think the first thing I want to do is just thank everyone who's here in person. I know it means a lot to leave the company, leave the business, and get out here for an hour and a half. We try to be as flexible as possible. And as you see the new direction of the Chamber, that is our focus of being as flexible, understanding the needs of businesses today. So we welcome Cole Creative being here again. They're a partner with us in this Engage program. We are, when we head out to the parks, recording all of these and posting them online. So folks who cannot attend in person can view the video later, and also folks here that can always go back and reference. So big thank you to Cole Creative back there, and hopefully they're very good at editing and slimming down, right? That's always a crucial thing. So that being said, today the whole focus is really just to understand what Engage is, let you know what and how we're proceeding with it. Most importantly, we want to show how it benefits you, being a member of either Hanover Crossings or Hanover Industrial Estates, the advantage of becoming part of what we're trying to do. And again, everything you'll see within this presentation today, the programs we talk about, Engage, Connect, and various others, are all free programs that we have available. And before I get into it, I'm going to got to turn it on. There we go. So I bring up a slide of our team, and the four members here. We've already met Wico. Lindsay Besick, the Vice President of the Chamber, is here. Megan is frantically taking pictures in the front. Megan is a grant coordinator and PR communications staff for the entire organization. Myself serving as a consultant for the Chamber, former Vice President here for the last few years. So I think what I want to do is touch upon Wico's point really quick. We know that we have not been as responsive as we can here in this park. We will never deny that. We will never argue against that. And there were a lot of factors leading up to it. I always point to the fact when I came on board with the Chamber in 2014, I believe, the end of 2014, I was the second full-time staff member from an organization that at one point had 29 full-time staff people. So there are a lot of factors leading up to it, but quite honestly, the biggest thing that I feel that why we were so unresponsive was that we knew that we can get out and understand your needs. We could talk to you and help understand what you're trying to accomplish. The issue is we had no tools in our toolbox. We had no way to help answer what your demands were or even start to point you in the direction you needed to be. We were not equipped to do that. So really in the past 3 years, we've focused on that, building back our toolbox. That includes becoming certified again with the Commonwealth so we could start to provide funding opportunities, whether it's PETA or other programs available through the Commonwealth Finance Authority. It's about partnering, becoming active in our PREP partnership, which is a group of regional economic developers and economic development agencies in about a 7-county region. And what you'll see later, and my good friend Kenna Krepke here, the formation of what we call Wilkes-Barre Connect, which is our non-PREP partners, really focusing on how the Chamber can be impactful, once again, providing the resources that our businesses need to be successful and to grow, and also relocate to Pennsylvania. So today we want to walk through, this is a culmination of all that hard work coming together and partnering with the Commonwealth on Engage about how we could start to now maximize everything we have and start to deliver for you. So here's our team today. This four-headed monster, essentially, we'll be the ones out there conducting Engage as we go through the process. However, there is a slew of other team members at the Chamber that have been unbelievable in help not only setting up today, but just setting up the process and moving forward with Ahmad, Ben, and Lauren back here, and our team of interns that we have here as well. So that is our team. This is who you'll see out, whether it's conducting interviews through the Engage process or performing touch points for the PR side of things. So exactly what is Engage? Engage is, when you strip it all down, is essentially a business retention and expansion program, okay? About a decade prior, economic development organizations such as the Chamber and the Scranton Chamber and other folks had a direct line item in the Commonwealth budget to perform these activities. This allowed us to go out, meet with companies, understand what your challenges are, where there's some opportunities, and really start to just essentially build that database of understanding, okay, what is the business climate like in northeastern Pennsylvania and how we could deliver. So Engage is the Commonwealth's creative way of bringing funding back and putting it into a new program. But when you strip it back, it's essentially a business retention and expansion activity. Where we differ is when we get further in the presentation, I talk about how we could execute and deliver. But Engage is simply retention and expansion. And we, again, focus on job growth, how we could retain and expand companies here in Pennsylvania, and also opportunities there are to help companies relocate to this area. So how does it work? What we decided to do, and to be as creative as we can, I think on the Chamber of Commerce side, led by Lindsay Bezick in a partnership with Cole Creative, I think the Chamber has been on the forefront finally of technology of how we understand businesses and members want to consume information. We've gone live, we started to do live streams, we're recording materials and really pushing it out. And we felt this town hall, what we're calling a town hall today, is really the focus of what we do, of allowing different points of interaction that can occur. But we felt this was the best way to at least help you, educate you on what Engage is and what we're trying to do. So that's today. That's the kickoff in each of the parks. And again, the parks we're looking at, we were in Highland Business Park last week. Today, representing the Hanover area, we'll be in East Mountain Corporate Center next week. And then we have Crestwood Industrial Park on June 1st. And in addition, as part of our Engage program, we've also partnered with Larry Newman in the Diamond City Partnership. His focus is more on downtown Wilkes-Barre, but he is part of our overall procedure. So how the program works, essentially, we kick off with these education or seminars in each park. There's an opportunity to schedule, and I believe Lauren provided you some information, but we'll follow up as well. Essentially, we're looking to schedule a time where we could talk to you. And if you remember or participated in former business retention expansion activity interviews, they were horrific, right? They were like 3-hour marathon. I've got 16 pages of boxes I have to check when I talk to you. This Engage program of how they set it up and how we've interpreted and built our own side, it's a dialogue. It could be something where we understand your needs in 15 minutes. Okay, this is a very interactive process. So the interview can be conducted, most likely we would like to prefer in person, but if we have to do it by phone or any other method, we are willing to do that as well. And then from that, the information we collect, identifying some few key factors, we'll deliver and build an action plan for you. And what you'll see, what differentiates us between previous prep activities and other projects such as Engage across the Commonwealth is we've got the deliverables ready on the backside. That is our focus. We just don't want to collect information. We want to execute. And that, I think, is a critical component in a theme today moving forward. And by the way, at any point, if anyone has any questions or comments, fire away. I want this to be as interactive as possible, except Wico. No more questions, Wico, okay? So what are we collecting? Really, again, as I said, in the past, there are monster documents of information that the Commonwealth was interested in collecting. That is not the focus now. Really, we want to know basic business information. What's your employee count? What are your operations? What are your markets? Followed by what we feel is the most critical is just identifying opportunities and challenges, whether it's workforce, which I'm going to tell you is probably going to be number one on most folks' lists that we talk to. We talk about financing opportunities and also infrastructure. And I think this third piece is key because the whole point of Engage in past retention expansion activities was just focused on you and your company of how we could help. But we wanted to expand that a little more. We wanted to be unique, understanding that we haven't been as active in these parks as we can. So the other key point, outside of identifying opportunities and challenges within your company, we want to talk about or essentially perform a park assessment. Where do you see improvements necessary, whether it's something simple as signage or it's infrastructure improvements, broadband activity, all the different components within the park that you feel need improvements, we want to address as well. And again, the fourth, really focusing on what your future is in Pennsylvania and how we could be helpful in understanding how we could be a partner with you moving forward. So what can we expect? And again, I think this is where our focus and how we interpret Engage and how we're moving forward is a little different. We'll do the baseline needs assessment as part of the normal business retention and expansion activities. God bless you. We'll form an action plan, but where we see the true value of what we're doing, again, this is I can't stress this enough. the referral part is something that we did not have a handle on for a long time. And we'll always admit that and understand that that was, you know, the way that we felt, even with limited staff and resources, how we could become impactful again. As Wico says, getting that seat back at the table was we understood and knew the power of partnerships and how we needed to get the right people around that table with us. And what you'll see is we have done that. And we understand that the needs that you have, the challenges you have, opportunities, it's not something that is a problem that the Chamber can fix on its own. It's going to be a focus of our partnerships. I got a bug following me around. It's strengthened by the partnerships we have. And what you'll see through the process here is we have partnered with entities, nonprofit business providers and such that carry from the basic business plan assistance all the way to patent product development and international contracting. So we offer a wide variety of services within our referrals. But the whole point is we collect your information, we'll build you an action plan, and again, we'll start to make the referrals so we can execute on the goals that you've identified, short and long term. And so how we deliver, this is again, I think the key. The two organizations I want to really talk about is PrEP. PrEP is, again, as I had mentioned earlier, it's a regional entity starting up from the northern tier and heading down into Carbon County. It's a coalition of economic development providers that come together to ensure that we are working together for the region to provide better services and realizing our value that we add and how we could refer within the system to make sure that our clients and our members get the right services they need. But in addition, what we found was there was a tremendous opportunity. And I always say Connect always, is born out of necessity, right? I go back to the component of the Chamber not having the staff and resources. And how can you be impactful? How can you provide value when you don't have that? It was about finding partners and building a system. So Connect, in its simplistic form, is a way in which we capture needs of businesses and push it through a unique partnership that can start to deliver and execute on what your short and long-term goals are. And it's ironic that we're here today because what you see, it's tough to see how the slide's a little small, but the Connect is powered by the Chamber, it's run by the Chamber in a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and the Chamber of Business and Industry. But the partners include the Small Business Development Center in Dorothy Lane, Larry Newman of the Diamond City Partnership, Dr. Rodney Ridley at the Wilkes University Alan P. Kirby Center for Free Enterprise and Entrepreneurship, our good friend Ken Okrepke back there with Ben Franklin, Terry Ohms at the Institute for Public Policy, and Sue Riley at the Family Business Alliance. Together, we provide this collective group that meets on a monthly basis, and utilizing the Institute as essentially our client and data management side, we're able to review every request or inquiry that comes into Connect through our online system, and between our partnerships can start to build that action plan and get them along the way. Now we handle everything. One of our first successes is something as simple coming through the SBDC, a couple opening a barbershop in the region, to handling someone like Ian, who came in looking to find a location in North America, came in as Connect was literally being formed. So he's a great story, and I think it's ironic that he's here today. And our whole focus of Connect is understanding the needs of businesses and understanding how valuable your time is. And our focus is you tell us what your needs are and you go back to what you need to do on your side. We'll build the action plan, we'll deliver the resources, we'll deliver the partnerships and the referrals you need to get to that point. It essentially cuts out all the crazy amounts of meetings and presentations and business cards that you're handed every day. We handle all that stuff, we build the action plan, we move forward. So Ken, I don't know if you want to add a few words of how kind of the partnership works, and specifically Ken is here because of his tremendous value he's been adding to business parks for a number of years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And first of all, I applaud the Greater Wilkes-Barre Chamber of Commerce, getting re-engaged with the business parks. The jobs and the impact that you have on this community is significant. So I applaud their efforts to bring this together. From Ben Franklin's perspective, it's a pleasure to be part of Wilkes-Barre Connect, because our organization, if you're not familiar with it, has been around since 1983. And we were founded at a time of a recession to help businesses like yours grow and become stronger in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So for Ben Franklin, there are 4 centers. There's one in Philadelphia, one in Pittsburgh, one that runs from Erie to Harrisburg, and I'm part of the Ben Franklin that covers the 21 counties in the Northeast. And what we can do directly for you is help support projects around product development or process improvement. So as you move through your plan, if you make something here within this business park, you walk around knowing that we could be better at what we do, but sometimes we just either don't have the time or we don't have the resources. And what Ben Franklin can do is, if you sit down with me, I can bring resources to you from our colleges and universities, whether it's Penn State or it's Penn State U-Park or it's Lehigh University or Wilkes University, to bring industrial engineers to support projects. So for example, recently we've had a project with Intermetro. We helped them do an analysis of their powder coating and their manufacturing processes associated with the racks that they make. We have recently had a project and have a current project with Medico Industries, as we're supporting the development of the dies and the length of time it helps them move manufacturing the munitions that they make. And we've got a project today, and that project is in association with Lehigh University. And then we've got a project with Cornell Cookson in Mountaintop that is a product development project where they had a new component to one of their doors. They make overhead doors, and so they've engaged a faculty member at Wilkes University to bring a level of expertise that they either didn't have, or it adds to their team so that they can accelerate the delivery of the product. So in any of the cases, I can support process improvement, lean manufacturing type projects, or product development projects that allow you to become stronger in a specific market or launch a product in a new market. And ultimately, I can pay for 50% of the engagement of those people. So it's a one-to-one cash match, and I can do that in stages of $25,000 up to $150,000. So we've been doing this since 1983. If you haven't heard of us, it's probably because we don't advertise or promote it. Traditionally, the referrals come from economic development partners or people from within the community that say, you know what, I need my organization to be stronger, better, faster, and want to leverage the resources that come from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We're funded by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, so we're here to help you. If you bring me in, I'm not here to sell anything. All I'm here to do is bring resources so that you become bigger, better, faster, and then offset some of the cost in order to make that happen. So I thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's a pleasure to be part of Wilkes-Barre Connect, and then I'm engaged in responsible for the business activities specifically within 6 counties, from Pike County to Lower Luzerne County to north of the New York State border. And the Ben Franklin that I'm a part of has a corporate center that's located on Lehigh University. So, and my office is in Scranton. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I applaud the Greater Wilkes-Barre Chamber for what they're doing, and then look forward if there's some way that I can help your organization become stronger and better and help you become or continue to do what you do in this community. It's to the benefit of Northeastern Pennsylvania, and that's the purpose for Ben Franklin. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ken. And I think Ken had an interesting statement there that rings true. We're not here selling anything. We're just letting you know that these resources exist, and we've put together a more streamlined process to connect you with those resources. And that's the focus of today. Connect, the beauty of Connect and the providers that we have. And you see, many of you have probably either come across or attended events with some of our core partners that they had tremendous value in their own way. We're all unique in the value that we could add to businesses in the area. And more importantly, this is just the core partnership. We have tremendous partnerships outside of that, whether it's Christine Jensen and PA CareerLink or others with our higher eds. We've really now gotten into K through 12 as well to start building a better pipeline, because understanding workforce is going to be probably the number one that everybody talks about. So we have started to develop these partnerships more aggressively, and understanding that as Connect continues to ramp up and demand is coming through, that we are able to deliver, because that is the key thing and why we're so happy to finally be here today to talk about how we can deliver for you. So does anyone have any questions on Connect or Prep or Ben Franklin or anything? No? Okay. The last piece, and I'll talk about how you can participate, but I think the one comment that I want to make is what is the benefit back to you? I think that's, at the end of the day, why are you here? What can we provide? And I think for us, it's about taking on those tasks that are either outside of your reach, or you're trying to find time within the organization, or don't want to really restructure ways of how you're addressing issues. We could handle that for you. We could build the partnerships. We could build the action plan. And more importantly, now through Engage, through a commitment from the Chamber as well, but through other Commonwealth sources, we have access to funding to help make that happen as well. So whether it's specific training you may need within your company, or maybe there's opportunity again for improvements within the park as a whole, we've got access to the resources that we will not only, again, deliver an action plan to you and start to deliver the services, but have some funding behind it, which is key. So our whole attempt really today is just to educate you briefly on this topic. Our hope is that when we reach out, that we can engage you and talk about some of the issues. Again, this is not your traditional business retention expansion 3-hour interview that we're looking for. Now, if you want to talk for 3 hours, we're on board. We'll love it. We'll come visit your site. We'll do everything. The whole point is we just want to make sure we want to capture what your needs are, what your challenges are, where you see opportunities, and then it's on us to really work hard with our partners, deliver that action plan, and deliver for you. So with that, there are 3 ways you can call the Chamber. You can email me directly. There's also the rest of the Chamber team you could contact as well. On our Wilkes-Barre Connect site, which is up and running, and again, part of the Chamber organization, there is a page dedicated to the Engage program that you could see this video today. You could also see some of the interactive videos we've had in the other parks, but it could illustrate how you can become a part of this program. And Lauren, again, I think hit you up with some information when you walked in as well of how you could be a part. And again, we welcome the opportunity to talk to you again and engage you and find ways that we can be helpful. So that, I don't know if anyone's any questions or comments or thoughts? Rico?
Maybe just go through for the team here the different components within Connect, just to kind of give a little bit of background of the different pieces, because some of it I think could match up kind of nicely. Sure. Relative to like intern, for example, or on.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point. So, as I said, Connect was formed out of necessity. We had a time where we were very short-staffed, limited resources, and wanted to be impactful. How can we truly handle someone like Ian coming to the door when there was maybe one staff member and you're trying to work on multiple projects? So Connect was really built to ease the pressure of which we could start to collect information. And again, partnering with great organizations like Ben Franklin and Wilkes University, we're able to now work together to answer those immediate requests that came in. So with Ian had a laundry list of items that he needed, including business plan assistance, relocation for the family. We did it all. So the whole focus of Connect was to handle all the needs. Well, what we saw in its first year of operation was there were things that were being checked off all the time. Again, now workforce being one, we're in the process of developing a better system there. But some of the baseline stuff that came up, the partners came together and really through the resources of the Chamber as well, started to put together programs that addressed individual issues. Since last year, we've launched 5 of these sub-programs under Connect that address certain topics that we saw continually coming up. The first, as Wiko just mentioned, was Intern. We just launched about 2 weeks ago. Intern is our way, it's an online regional platform in which businesses could better connect to our students in our local university and colleges. We saw a tremendous opportunity. I always talk about GUARD, Berkshire Hathaway in downtown Wilkes-Barre, where something crazy like 75% of their interns were coming from New York and New Jersey. And there they were, a stone's throw away from King's College and Wilkes University. This was our answer, and actually it was funny. We partnered with them to help understand what their needs were, and now they're our main sponsor of Intern to get it kicked off and launched. But for us, it helps you as a business because you have access direct to the students to find exactly what you need. The students can post their resumes, so it's an easier system to start to find the talent. It's in addition to what our universities are doing. For us, we see tremendous value of a great platform in which we can keep our young talent here, which we're very excited about. So Intern just launched. We have a program called Honor that also launched 2 weeks ago. We had our first event. Honor is a program that we built to help support veterans start and launch businesses in northeastern Pennsylvania. We partnered with the SBDC. We also partnered with the US SBA. We had our first event, and this is not a job training or job placement. This is for veterans looking to start a business. We had 23 veterans attend our first event. And to put that in perspective, they had the same Boots to Business event in Philadelphia about a month prior, I believe. and they had 22 folks attend in Philadelphia. So our numbers were great. We're excited. The feedback after has been positive, and now we've got 23 businesses in the Connect system that are starting to utilize the resources we have. A third, we have an event called Spotlight, which we do have tomorrow night. It is our it's our platform in which we introduce students and young professionals, entrepreneurs in one space. We found through our work with universities and in building these systems that there's been no communication at all. Students don't understand opportunities here, they don't understand the business climate, and for us it was a way just to gather them. So we have quarterly events, we bring in phenomenal speakers from across the US that come up and speak, and tomorrow night we have Chris Bennett from Skyless Media from Philadelphia, is one of the leading tech gaming companies in the East Coast. He's coming up, and that's in partnership with Penn State University, who's actually adding a gaming minor to their discipline up at Penn State Wilkes-Barre. The fourth, which is become my favorite, and it's been a huge role with Kenna Krepke, is Pitch. Pitch is our way of providing a platform for startups and entrepreneurs to get access to capital and investors in our region. May 9th will be our third event. We've had great success. We're excited. Our lineup, well, we've got 4 companies lined up for our May 9th event. And it's kind of our version of Shark Tank. It's been very successful, whether they've taken on investment, whether they've come through and taken on investment from Ben Franklin as well, outside of private, but just building good relationships. So really focused on pitch and what that means. I absolutely love it. And then the fifth one is a great partnership with the SBDC, which just kicked off. It's our 101 series. It's where we're taking industry leaders and filming 3 to 5 minute videos that are helping ease pressure off of the SBDC. They identify their top 10 essentially most requested topics or information coming through. And so we've partnered, I think Don Berminski, is he just recorded, or is he's about to record? He's in the process of recording. So we've had some great folks who have partnered and just filming videos where we're building a video library for folks who want to access to understand basic business fundamentals. And I think the key to all those programs I talked about in Connect, we've spent so much time and energy and hard work of not only forming the partnerships and finding resources, because the whole program is free. Absolutely free. All of our events are free to attend. Everything we provide is free, and we've really taken, just proud of that. And I think it shows how focused we are, how we want to deliver, and I think Connect has been a great start. 2017 was great, but this year has just been absolutely phenomenal where we're going. The first quarter has been remarkable. So we're excited. It's a perfect time as we see as Connect is starting to ramp up in the right way. Engage comes along with the Commonwealth, and so now we can combine both and allow us a better opportunity to talk to you directly. But more importantly, as I said, not only get your needs, but deliver for you, and that's our focus. So, any questions or comments?
One of the other things I just wanted to say relative to Ben Franklin on that whole concept of pitch, that Shark Tank. I mean, we've done how many of these now? 3?
Yeah, this will be the third.
Third, and maybe just a little bit about what basically Ben Franklin is doing is that one is that you go through almost kind of their course on business, putting together a business plan, et cetera, before you get into this thing, and then also maybe a couple of the success stories, because I think you got 2 of them already that are quite good that you guys might want to take advantage of. As you start to take a look at.
Yes, I'm not sure which companies are you referencing that you say the.
I was thinking Plain Guru and
Okay.
with the other one.
Well, Channel 8.
Channel 8. Okay, so yeah, I can cover both those. So from Ben Franklin's perspective, the first part of my discussion was really around what you need. If you're manufacturing a product, half of what I do is support manufacturing firms through those product development, those process improvement projects, lean manufacturing, time studies, layout and design type projects. That's one hat I wear. The other hat I wear is what Rico and Joe are referencing is related to pitch. I invest money in early stage technology companies, and that's actually how we got introduced to Ian as he was moving here, and some of his initial financing came from Ben Franklin. So I provide early stage seed capital with my other hat to startup technologies and startup ventures. And part of the challenge in northeastern Pennsylvania is that if you don't know the right angel investors, it's hard to get their mind share and then their dollars as an investment. So you have access to Ben Franklin's dollars. I can invest up to $450,000 in a startup company over a period of years. We have a series of angel investors. If you know Wico, he could introduce you to people. If you know me, you could. Joe could. But what we didn't have was a formal process so that whether you're in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and Hazleton, an opportunity for you to drop your business plan or your venture in, and we're giving each quarter 2 entrepreneurs an opportunity to do a 10-minute pitch, and then have questions and answer, and then 2 companies to do an elevator pitch to kind of kick off an idea. And what we've found is that we've had attention from some angel investors, and we've had some success with the companies that come through. The 2 companies that Wico is referencing, one is located in downtown Wilkes-Barre. He actually moved his company from Westchester, New York to Wilkes-Barre to be part of this environment and this startup culture that's taking place right now. And he has a product that may be of value to your firms. It's really built around budgeting and forecasting. So he came out of IBM Global, and the procurement and data world that is that entity, and built a platform for budgeting and forecasting. And so his product is used by CEOs, CFOs, and then B2B CFOs who work with lots of companies like yours. So he'll have companies in his portfolio that'll have $1 million in revenue and $100 million in revenue, working with smaller shops, manufacturing facilities, to multinational type organizations. But essentially providing the tools so that the budgeting and forecasting takes place in a way that predicts what's supposed to happen and helps your companies make good strategic decisions. So he's now in downtown Wilkes-Barre building this software as a service SaaS model. And then the other company that was referenced is a company called Channel Ape. And for those of you that sell products online via e-commerce, the challenge selling in the e-commerce world is you have lots of rules, whether it's Amazon or eBay or whichever platform, Shopify, you're trying to sell under. So he's built a tool that allows you to sell on multiple channels and manage the procurement that takes place with all of those OEMs or warehousing or your specific facility, so that you never run out and you follow all the rules across each platform. And he has companies that are now selling on a global basis, and he's located in downtown Scranton. Both of those companies, in coming through pitch, raise additional dollars, and then they're also Ben Franklin clients on that other hat that is not the manufacturing hat, but the early stage seed fund hat. So the summary of that story is what we're doing is changing the way people raise money in northeastern Pennsylvania. Instead of having to come only to Ben Franklin or find somebody who knows an angel investor that can one-on-one help you receive an investment, now what we're trying to do is create a system so that anybody who has an idea can come into that system and then get access to the people who can invest in the technologies. And then we have business incubators and other folks who can be supportive of helping them grow and build the businesses. So,
and I think in general, I think no request is too big, too small. I think we've set up these processes where we could start to impact policy, but again, we have access to different funding sources, different expertise that we have to really start to drive unique innovations out there. And I think from our standpoint, no matter if it's a unique workforce idea you have or issue that you're dealing with in terms of understanding this market, or on the international side as well, we've got all the tools finally in the toolbox to handle that. So we look forward to any dialogue that we could have with you to understand what your needs are, push it our way. We'll find a way to find the right partner, build that action plan, and deliver.
Yeah, and I think nothing is too large or too small. I mean, he's doing some things with Andrew Cornell with Cornell Cookson that I think is kind of interesting on the product development side. But I would even tell you, even on the other side of it, I mean, we do get phone calls, from, hey, our roads here in this industrial park aren't very good. So I mean, I will tell you, we get on the phone with the county a lot. Saying, hey, can you bring a crew over there and fix some of the roads? I mean, just as simple as that. Or, the signage that we have. It's one of the ways I met Rich. I mean, we have a problem with the signage over in the crossings area. Just needed to be lit up a little bit nicer, and frankly was overgrown, which, by the way, we take full responsibility for. And hopefully, that there's an example of one that we kind of cleaned up a little bit. So nothing is too small, nothing is too large. But we did kind of maybe ask you a question. I mean, how are you guys doing in terms of your businesses? What can you think that we might be able to do as a chamber to kind of line up and help you guys with your businesses? We talked a little bit about workforce. I would tell you that intern program I think is going to be very interesting because about 3 years ago they did a questionnaire with all the college students, and We have access to 50,000 college students within about an hour from here in 17 universities. And those college students, by the way, only 26% of them said that they thought that they could find a job over here. That's a problem, because that means we're gonna lose some of our brain talent, our intellectual property is gonna leave the area. And I will tell you, we're starting to do some things about it. We've got interns here in the room that we brought on board. I will tell you that, Joe introduced Megan. Megan was an intern here 3 years ago, I think it was about two, 3 years ago, that did such a great job with us that we hired her. And I think that becomes key, because, you get to see if there's a place that we can capture some of those best and brightest, use them in your companies, and you might find that they're indispensable after a semester, and you want to keep them. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We don't have all the answers to workforce. I know it's going to be a challenge. I will tell you, from a institute perspective, Terry Ohms and the institute have been working with the Pennsylvania Fed to really take a hard look at the transportation in this area. I would tell you, 100 years ago, I think transportation was better over here. You had electric streetcars all the way from Scranton to Nanticoke and everything in between. Today, we've got kind of disparate ways of transporting people, and it's not always the best way. But I will tell you, as part of the thing that she's engaged on is to try and see, even if we could just break down some of the barriers between Lackawanna and Lucerne relative to just the public transportation. Or I would tell you too, in some discussions with folks like Chu, they're starting to get their own, if you will, private transportation for their employees to get them, and some of that might work for you too, if you want to, get engaged with some of them because of potentially some different, workforce shifts that you might have that might not be lined up with public transportation at this point. So all those type of things we're starting to get engaged on. And just again, want to just open it up. I mean, is there anything, immediate issues that you think we should be helping you guys with? Or, again, nothing's too big, nothing's too small. Any thoughts, comments?
I just, if I could explain a little bit, Rico, I know we've talked about it. I'm in the industrial park with Ito Denki, right on the corner of Hanover Crossings there. One of the challenges that we've had, especially recently, is trying to find engineering talent. Mm-hmm. Both mechanical, electrical, and also now network engineers. And I realize that we've done the college circuit, we've gone to the local schools, and we try to do a career day there. But even though we've been here, we've been manufacturing in Wilkes-Barre in this industrial park since 1997. A lot of people at the school level really didn't know what we did or what we made. Yep. It was really shocking to me, especially, Joe, you may remember when we added a new building, we were going there, a lot of people that even for local companies. And I know it's probably on us to talk more about what we do from our facility, but I'm surprised that the schools weren't even engaged to know who's around or what companies do. So when they're looking to place their engineers, why are we taking people to Boston or New York on bus trips to find jobs when we have companies here that the students may be interested in? Right. And that's a little bit surprising. So from your end, Rico, I don't know, are the schools more engaged now, the local colleges? I understand the regional aspect about what type of jobs or what type of opportunities are there, but I'm not sure if it helps to at least to speak about what the companies that do here.
From the engineering perspective, I think really Ben Franklin actually has done some really interesting things there because of just some of the projects that you've done as you're working to get some of the engineers to do some special projects. So if you've got a special project, that would be a kind of a cool place to start.
Yeah, no, we've got a project right now with Simplex Industries, which is a company that makes modular manufacturing in Scranton. And they brought a team up from Lehigh, and so it engaged both industrial engineers, faculty members, and students. And what they ended up doing was hiring a couple of those students. They put in a 3D architecture, AutoCAD type of an application that supported all their manufacturing operations. And the student who helped manage the project knew the system as well as anyone else in the facility, so then they hired him. They also took a look at a number of their processes and way that they make and move boxes through their facility. And once you get a student who's engaged that says, hey, I like this, I like what you're doing, then they keep them on board. So I think engaging with a specific tangible project, whether it's for credit or whether it's an industrial engineering level where you have to have a senior staff person who's probably not a faculty member, but somebody who can manage the project to make sure it gets done, or you can engage students to supplement that, because that's the way our projects we use. These are not student-based projects to give students an experience. That's for an internship. In our case, they're to solve a problem that a company has, but we let the schools engage students so that they can be part of the process, and in some case, to collect data or do time studies. To have a student there with a stopwatch is less expensive than to have an industrial engineer doing that work. So you get the benefits of both sides.
And I think you're essentially, you came to the same conclusion of where we were as a group in Connect. So Kings and Wilkes, just the two alone, the investment they're making in their engineering schools right now or in the future, it's remarkable. So you think this would be a perfect time, but there's still no connection. That's the problem. Hence the Connect word, by the way. And so that's why we're slowly building, bringing an intern online. Lindsay just stepped out, but developing the job bank online, of testing that, of where we see deploying some video components of helping tell your stories to company, getting online and finding ways to deliver the content, your message to students. That's what we're working on now and doing that, because it should be the best time for you right now. Two schools investing the amount of money. Kings, with their partnership with the University of Notre Dame, about to launch the renovation of the Springbrook building to host their engineering. Wilkes as well expanding, but you're still not seeing the connection. And we feel that is where our value is to this. That's how we can start to solve the problem. Because I always love to tell the story is, in the past, when an industry had an issue, specific workforce they needed or specific item, by the time we understood what they needed, and by the time we had the discussion with the higher eds and they made the right changes, it was 2 years later and you were in New Jersey. You've already relocated. So I think Connect is trying to simplify that process. Wico had brought up Terry Ohms before. If you don't know, Terry's work is incredible at the Institute based on the data and analytical side of what she does. She, as our partner in Connect, is starting to see the workforce issues, the real-time issues that our companies are facing here, but now have her in partnership with our K through 12s, and in terms of the LIU as well, that she's starting to collect data on their career pathways they're building there. So the whole point is, in real time, we could start to analyze where we've got workforce issues and make the switch in K through 12 to address the long term. But more importantly, with Connect, we can start to address your short-term issues, and that's what we're trying to do.
And interestingly enough, I mean, also on our team is Dr. Rodney Ridley, who actually heads up the Kirby Center for Entrepreneurial, what's the name? The name?
Alan P. Kirby Center for Free Enterprise and Entrepreneurship.
But where I was going to go with that is that he's a great connect point for us too, because from an engineer perspective, he actually worked for Fairchild Semiconductor over here before, so he knows some of the needs of the area and is starting to connect that to the business community, and I think that becomes critical. I think the other thing too is, one of the things that we just talked about with Ken, and maybe a win-win for you, Rich, is if you've got a particular project that you're looking at, remember again that you can engage potentially Ben Franklin in that project, and by the way, he pays for 50% of it, which is kind of a nice place to start. So there might be just that one piece alone. I would.
And if you have a specific need, I'd love to hear about it,
Sure.
because I have access to people that may be able to
We
drive.
can talk about that. Like I said, we work with Ben Franklin out of Philly, out of the Navy Yard. I think
Yeah.
some of the
Yep,
distributors. So we tried some of that before for projects,
Yeah.
but I'm even talking, Wico, for permanent people that we're looking
Yeah.
to staff
Of
up and
course.
hire because we have a
Yep.
need for that.
Yep.
It's amazing for us to run an ad and start to get so many people looking, but they're from outside the area to
Outside the
come
area,
here, and I'm like,
yeah.
what the heck? We got people here. How do we get the resumes? Or get
Yeah,
the
and so I think this is the right place, right
Okay.
time, where we've finally started to build the structure that can handle requests, but now with Engage, you see potential partnerships more with Ben Franklin. You need to talk to Wilkes, you need to talk to Kings, you need to do a few things. All you need is to come into one point now, and we'll handle that for you. I think that's what we're trying to accomplish today, to let you know that that's what we've done. The days of trying to connect with all of us, you don't need to do that. We'll put that together, we work together and build you the plan that you need.
And I would just note that, so get the job descriptions, here, but get them to me as well, make sure that I see them, because I
Yeah,
may
they'll
be able to
come
reach into some of these institutions. I've been working with the really 29 colleges in northeastern Pennsylvania, from Lehigh Valley through Bloomsburg, in here within our footprint here for almost the last 20 years. So I may have relationships that I can reach into that drive some traffic to you.
I appreciate that, and I gotta say, I mean, the schools that you're dealing with, when we get people locally, they're good, it's good, the work ethic is still there.
Yeah.
The kids are still, you know, they come in looking to work, so we've been fortunate for that, but I'd rather choose from the local schools, because that's what they're, you know,
Yeah.
if they have that offering, it'd be great. So.
And we're also starting to get, I think, the connection points going up with all of our academic capital in the area. I mean, if you talk to Pat Leahy, I mean, he's really trying to turn Wilkes into a research center of excellence from a college perspective, which I think is really good. Now, it's going to take a year to turn that battleship, if you think about it. So it's something that we're building on. And then also know John Loyak and Father Ryan. I mean, they're kicking off that Springbrook building and turning it really into where I think King's was going with their mechanical and their what's the other one? Mechanical and industrial engineering that they're doing. So I think you're going to start to see over the course of time more and more folks getting into those programs and getting minted out that I think really work towards a lot of the STEM-based jobs that we really need to fill in the area.
Yeah, our schools are making tremendous investment. I mean, even Misericordia, they're underway with a $35 million science expansion project. So all of our schools are really focused on, and we've been helped. I mean, we're actually, I think what's important to note is when I talked about certification and not being certified just 3 years ago, what that means is now, as we went through the process, became certified, we're eligible for different funds. I think we've had about $20 million of grant funds flow through the chamber to our members, to our partners, and that's to do major highway improvements, to do infrastructure improvements. We've done expansion, job creation type pieces. So we've become active in that, but part of that is also starting to help our universities and colleges find unique funding sources to do these expansions to meet the demands we're seeing in engineering and on the science side of Misericordia.
And I would also encourage you too, I mean, when you leave here too, is really take a look at that, the intake form to Connect, because the whole idea here with Connect is not just for our startup company. It really is an ecosystem that we're putting together that takes a look at the entire business life cycle. So whether you're just starting out, that's certainly one way to start into it. But if you're already mid-size or large and you just want to expand or you want to do some of the programs you're talking about, you're focused on trying to get engineers, I would encourage you to fill out that intake form, because one of these guys is going to get in contact with you, and at least we can start getting some of those doors open up for you. Because the one thing that we are now good at is we might not always be, we're better almost as a brokerage firm where we can kind of find the right people for you, not necessarily execute ourselves, but we can find the right people now for you because we know a lot of them. So we can get those connect points in place for you and start to really engage you guys from a business perspective anywhere you are in your business life cycle.
Yeah, and I think, again, going back,
like that barbershop.
Yeah, the old business retention expansion programs, right, were really relationship building, and that's why you spent a crazy amount of time sitting in front of that member to understand what their needs are. We feel like that is the second step of our process. We feel that to show our value and to show that we are back and truly can deliver, it's putting together these simplified programs like Engage and Connect, where you could literally go on tonight at midnight, fill out an intake form in literally 2.5 minutes, not even, and tell us exactly what your needs are, and literally within 24 hours we're up and running for you. And I think for us, we see if we could understand your needs and start to deliver value, that's where we see that we could start to build a relationship with you and kind of build back our long-standing tradition of being in these parks and being active in them. So.
And at the end of the day, that's what a chamber's supposed to do. I mean,
Right.
we're supposed to advocate for you. We're supposed to help economic development, job creation in the area, and this is our vehicle to do it. So that's why we wanted to get together with you guys, just to get a sense of how we do and what areas we can improve on. By the way, if you didn't want to say anything here, but you come up on something over the next couple of days, or if there's something you want to just do as a one-on-one, I think I'm still the only Wico Van Genderen in the tri-state area. Pretty easy to find for the most part. But any one of these guys, I mean, just reach out. I mean, we'll do whatever we need to do to get this thing kick-started right for you. And at the same token, apologize for the chamber not necessarily always engaging the way we should have for the past couple of years, and we really mean to remedy that. And that's why we wanted to meet with you guys.
I have one other thing, if you don't mind. Well, as we're getting people to come in, I just wanted to talk about we've talked before about the area and the resources that we have to offer, not only the talent that we're trying to get here, but the natural resources, the stuff that people could do on weekends. The other thing that the younger generation of people are looking for in a job, right? That they're looking for an area. Ian, when you mentioned about moving here, when you talked about your family, there's so many things to offer here when I'm trying to bring people in, or I'm hiring people from outside the area to bring in, but I have to do the list of what is to offer. It seems like if there was some organization to speak more about that, and I know if you sent me a video, one thing that looked like it was gonna talk more about the area and the positive things, the location, but the natural resources, the outdoor stuff, the mountain bike, all the things that the younger generation wants to do. That would help us, I think, if we were somehow promoting that more to be able to talk about the lifestyle.
So it's funny you say that, because literally in our session last week in Highland Business Park, that was the topic that came up. And we had a number of hotels there. We had the folks, the arena hosted us. And they actually it had been in talks with Will Beekman at the Kirby Center of that same vein of creating a new kind of piece of how we could, whether it's a partnership with the Visitors Bureau or whatever that is, to start driving that content more. Now, the funny story is with Ian, when he came and saw us and met with us in the morning and then was going down to Lehigh Valley, and 9 times out of 10, when a company's going down to Lehigh Valley, it's tough to compete down there at that point, especially when we had no structure at all. Connect was in its infancy. Ian did not have a good meeting down there and decided he wanted to come up and see our area more. So we got him a room and he stayed up here, and then I chauffeured him around all day on Saturday throughout the area. And for me, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think the thing that eventually sold it was Harvey's Lake. Taking him up there, and he just pulled off, was taking pictures, and said, "This is why my wife will want to come here."
You know, on Google, if you Google the area, it doesn't come out great compared to a lot of areas, but it's fantastic when you're here. But I think it was Discover Napa that I think Bob Miracles just set up.
Yes.
And that is a great place to show people, and a great site to do, because that looks very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
My assistant just moved from Japan here in August, and he lived in California, he lived in New Jersey. So I was trying to figure, how's this gonna go? And I figured, it's a lot like California. He said, no, it's not. It's more like New Jersey. But he's a mountain biker, and he just loves it. He's out at Moon Lake Park, and he's one of the, in those short couple months, he's amazed at the stuff that we have to offer. And again, it's
world-class mountain biking. People don't realize from here, I mean, you have literally people travel around the world that come to northeastern Pennsylvania to mountain bike.
So how do we get make it a little bit easier to talk about that? That makes it easier to find, straighten Google up. But that was just my comment.
I already caught four 16-inch trout in the last week and a half. Great fly fishing. If you're fly fishing, it's great fly fishing.
Any of the outdoor stuff, I mean, it's a great area for that.
And I'm the only kennel crappie as well. Wico's the only Wico guy, and I'm 100% sure I'm the only kennel crappie in this book.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming. Again, if you have any questions when you leave here, don't hesitate to reach out and tell your friends next time we come over here. I mean, we really like to start to get this momentum going, and frankly, not just use it as an opportunity for a town hall for us back and forth, but frankly, maybe even an opportunity for you guys to network with your other peers in the industrial park as we start to really kick this thing off and get this thing moving.
Yeah, and I think too, I'll speak about, I love, and if anyone, I'm sure Ian will take you back, I love going to see operations, I love going to walk through, so would welcome that at any time to come out and see your place. I would, myself, Wico, Lindsay, Ken, anybody from the staff, so.
In fact, is it fair, if anybody want to stay and take
I was
a
just
tour?
about to suggest that if anybody wants to have a look around at what we do there, I mean, we're still in the process of setting up. So you'll see a machine in bits, but laid out the way it should be. So I'm quite happy to do that.
And you've got plans to bring 3 of whatever it is you're...
We've got plans to bring a lot more in
Yeah.
there. We're not just going to set up 1 or 2 production lines. We're going to, eventually we're going to take over this whole building and go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got this 1 machine down and 2 more machines on the way.
So I will take you up on that tour. If anybody else would like to join us, that's great.
Awesome.
And I guarantee this one thing, if you go on a tour with Ian and you get a chance to talk to him, you'll never look at a bag the same again. The first thing you'll do is you'll turn that bag over and say, yep, made in Vietnam.
So
I
don't
knew
do
it.
the trip then, if I were you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.